Coming up on this episode of the Girls Group Chat podcast.
Oh my God. Imagine just like deleting social media, throwing your phone in the bin.
And then I just had to go into the toilet and cry and be sick. I vomited. I came back out.
But if there was like an unwritten law that he could have understood that I was on my time of the month and that I've had a bad morning, I really, really wish that was the thing.
Throw him with him in him.
Hello and welcome to the Girls Group Chat podcast with me, Shannon.
Me, Olivia.
Me, Diona.
And me, Jordan.
Thank you for joining us, and I just want to say a special thank you to our Patreon members. If you're not over there, it is patreon.com/the Girls Group Chat podcast, and that is where you will find exclusive episodes every single week, exclusive content. You get exclusive extra. That was a mix. Exclusive entry to pre-sales for tickets.
Come on, Shannon, you got this.
There's forms, there's loads, and you can watch all the old stuff as well, so you could just spend hours on that
the old
website.
stuff from the 1920s.
The old stuff.
All the talkies.
When we started 6 months ago.
The black and white talkies. They're all on there.
That's it.
That's it, and it's only £4 a month, so bargain.
Yeah. Absolute bargain.
So
Do you know
really
what
aggressive.
I just love when we have to like sell the Patreon start. We're like, come to the Patreon. Just please come over there.
Yeah, it's so awkward.
It actually is mental over there.
I love it.
I'm actually glad some of them episodes are private.
Oh, me
No.
too. Do you know what? See, if you're in the Patreon, don't ever screen record that stuff.
I
Just
think
keep
there
it.
is
That's our
something
wee
against
secret.
that.
Don't be a narc.
I think there is something. There is something against that. I'm pretty sure in Patreon
I'd say.
when you sign up for it, and
you
if you
can't
do
do
it,
it.
like you get in trouble or
It says in
kicked
the
off.
T's
But
and
that's
snitches
like
get
you're not
stitches.
snitches get stitches. That's like you're not allowed to talk about those where we
Club.
dating the same guy
Yeah.
ones and all, and everyone's like, psst. But no, we dating
Here
the
we
same
are
guy.
publicising it on a podcast.
We talk
in
about
all
it
the
all
different
the time.
episodes.
Yeah.
I think about this with OnlyFans. Like, do you know how people obviously have to subscribe to OnlyFans? People put like beyond private stuff on there. How does that not end up screenshotted all over the
It's the
internet?
same thing.
Do you know why?
There is legalities to it that if you
Okay.
do it,
It'll get taken down.
I
Yeah.
think you
But
you
also-
can get in trouble.
You'd have to be the guy. If you're the
Yeah.
guy who screen grabs it and put it up, then everyone's like, oh, well, then you're on there subscribed. I'd say
Yeah.
most people don't want people to know that they're subscribing to.
Yeah, but say you were
OnlyFans.
just like a professional bastard, like, and you weren't wanting to set up a separate website of like, oh, here's all the nudes of
I think
such
it's
and such
I think
a
it's
person.
probably on like the dark web and like Telegram and stuff. There's a thing at the minute you see on Telegram of
Telegram?
What the fuck is Telegram?
I'm
it's
like
like a
nodding.
private thing. I only found this out recently because they're basically
I thought you meant the teletext.
So did I.
Jesus Christ.
So did I.
it's
The
like
only
I don't
person
know if
there.
it's an app or a website. I don't really know, to be honest, ins and outs, but I do know there was a big scandal recently that they, because it's all private and kind of encrypted and stuff, there was like inappropriate photos of young girls from
Oh.
Northern Ireland being shared on it. So I think websites like that get away with it, but I'm pretty sure there is legalities to sharing stuff that's posted on OF and stuff on normal social media.
Isn't
I think
it-
you could
isn't it
end up in trouble
funny
with the police.
How because there's so much like erotica available online that like because people are so desensitized
aye.
to like what gets them horny now. You know what I mean? Because no, they are, because there's like it's like I remember Jamila one time in like a TED Talk thing saying like fellas are learning how to ride off porn. It's like learning how to do your like first driving lesson, like a Formula 1 driver. You know what I mean? It's
Aye.
like you're going to the extreme straight away. But you remember like years ago when women would read like a dirty novel.
Oh,
You know, on their
aye.
holidays, and it was like, and she slipped the negligee from her elbow, and they were like, oh, like they just get, do you know what I mean?
I know. Think back then, like the Mills and Boons day, when that was literally all people had, you know, for, as you say, a little erotica, like a pretty mild novel, really.
Yeah.
Where it's like, and he put his thrusting member against her hip.
I know. And the
Imagine
women
if
were
someone
giggling.
from that era saw like Bonnie
What goes
Blue.
on now?
Yeah.
I know.
They'd have an absolute conniption.
I was in a spa the other day and I was swimming in the pool and I saw old photographs of obviously when the hotel first opened in like the beach nearby and all, and women were in their, do you know their swimming suits that are like they really cover them up
Like
loads.
pedal pushers.
And they have like a little skirt over the top of them, and they have like their little shades that are shaped like with hearts, you know, and their hair all curled and pinned up. And I was like, men must have been jizzing their necks looking at them, and do you know, just like, and they're so covered up. It would be such a tame swimsuit, you know. Now, and I was looking at it, and all. It's funny now that that would be like, what an absolute. Like,
There's no air of history left.
No,
whatsoever.
By the way, can I tell you actually what happened to me, and that's why.
God,
You always have a story
Always
with the
have a
hotel and the spa.
Always.
and swimming pool.
No, this is actually
Maybe you're the problem.
Were any grannies hurt?
No, I am, Jordan, because this is like, I'll tell you Sean's response to where any grannies are.
the tidal wave.
The last episode I had told you about when someone walked in the toilet when I had my knickers down at the wedding, right? Well, I went down.
That sounds.
No, my knickers down. Going to the toilet. But I went down to the spa, right? And I got down there, and I was so looking forward to it because I'd been in this hotel for now nearly 24 hours and hadn't gotten to go down yet because I was working, and I was like, I deserve a go in that jacuzzi. Got down there and realised I'd only packed my bikini top. I didn't have my bikini bottoms. And I was like, oh, no way. And I don't wear knickers. I only wear thongs. So I was like, I'm going in my thong. I don't care. I was like, I don't care who sees my whole entire arse cheeks. I'm getting in my thong. And thank God when I went in, there was nobody else there. And I had the whole spa to myself.
Lovely.
So it was great. So I was swimming around with my whole arse out, looking at them women.
Then a thong
I'm waiting for the butt.
No.
Oh, you've already showed us the butt.
But yeah. No, but
a
when
thong now is quite a normal bikini though. Like
True.
when you go on a holiday,
Maybe not in a spa
but
hotel though.
yeah. Well, depends where you're going.
I think it's more because you don't want the tan lines on your arse cheeks, but I'm not going to get tan lines in Birmingham inside.
Oh, you.
Do you know what I mean? But I got out of the spa and went back, and I found my bikini bottoms in my bag.
Oh, fuck's sake.
I was like, if I had put myself through that, and there was loads of people there, I would have been absolutely fuming. I got back and I rang Sean, and I was all, for God's sake, I forgot my bikini bottoms. I had to go on my thong, and he was all, obviously
no
this
other
happens.
option.
Nobody's like, this happens to you. Like last week, you had your knickers down around your ankles, and some boy walks in and you in the bathroom. What are you going to do next week?
If you want to be an exhibitionist, just say.
Yeah.
We won't judge you.
My whole boob fell out one time in a nightclub.
Of course
Oh,
it did.
Fucking me. Like,
And actually, there's not that even much of a boob to fall out. So I was just like, this is so unfair it happened to me. It should happen to someone with a proper pair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was wearing like a bandeau top, and I was in a nightclub in Banbridge, and I was standing talking to a male friend of mine, and an entire boob came out, and it was out for 6 to 7 seconds before I
How did
realised.
only one side come down?
Yeah.
I think I yanked my thong out of my arse, and it pulled down because it was like a jumpsuit.
So it went like sideways.
So it went sideways. One boob came out, and I'm telling you as well, not even the good boob.
and were you just telling a story when they didn't even notice or what?
And he was all, you need it. And I was all, whoa, like, I pulled it up, and it was like a couple of seconds.
But that's more impressive than only one felt like, given that you wouldn't be like the most blessed in the chest department. Like I've quite big tits, so if one fell out,
You'd notice, like.
No, but you know what it is, Jordan? If one of your tits fell out, people would be like, oi, oi, like, we got a good look at her tit. If one of mine's come out, they go, per gear. What series of disastrous events led her to this situation?
Your
No.
man, you're stuttering.
They were pre-breastfeeding baps as well, so they were better then than they are now.
here a different time for
Yeah.
the bap.
Because a post-breastfeeding bap is like, do you know those wee bean bags you get in PE? You have to do it in sports day. Those
I
like
remember
empty
like that.
sacks.
Yeah.
That's what they're like afterwards.
Yeah.
I wish I had that.
Like a tennis ball, a tennis ball in the end of a sock is what my titties used to look like before turkey.
Yeah.
God.
That's
Here.
extreme.
Right. Well, let's all stop
There were-
bashing
do you
our own
know-
body,
yeah.
shall we?
Do you know what trend I fucking loved on social media? It was like things that would put a Victorian child
Oh,
in their
yeah.
coma. And the funniest answer I ever seen was Haribo time fasting. Do you imagine a wee plague child?
I know.
By then they go,
Or like sour
Yeah.
sweets. Like, what the fuck?
When they get an
Mind blown.
orange for Christmas, I know that's the height of the sugar. I've always said I would love to feel what all the people feel like when they come out of Bear Grylls the island and they lick a bit of pineapple and they're like, Mamma mia! Like
Yeah.
they've just been living on rice for the past month and they come out and I was like, I'd love that. Like, do you know, to be like not have everything you
deprived
want all
from
the
it.
time,
Yeah.
so then
It's
you
like
can really enjoy
bodybuilders. You ever see the videos of people like getting their first bite of like a cookie,
a Biscoff
and they're
blanket.
yeah.
orgasming over a cookie because they haven't had anything other than like rice and broccoli for months.
Yeah.
God.
Before my first ever bodybuilding competition.
Oh yeah, Jordan.
Fucking right.
I obviously was on like a
Obviously.
really, really strict diet, and I got like too lean, matching, and about a week before my competition, my coach said, right, I want you to have a cheat meal tonight and you can go like 1,000 calories
Carb
over
up.
your budget or whatever because you need to like fill out your muscles a wee bit. And me, who's been on a diet for 6 months, like my mind was in overdrive, like what the hell am I going to eat? And by that point I wasn't craving stuff like a Chinese or an Indian and stuff. I wanted just something calorific but like good food. And I drove myself nuts. Do you know what I had for my like big blowout cheat meal? A baked potato with loads of butter and cheese and ham and beans, because I hadn't had butter in so many months. And I was so
a nice
excited.
meal, but
I mean, not
Fucking
exactly
hell.
something you would
That
like
is
crave for 6
so
months.
sad.
Looking back, it's very sad. But I was delighted. I had a pint of milk with it and some coleslaw, and I was like, "This is living, boys. This is living."
What
That
a
was
rebel.
like me coming out of Bear Grylls. The island.
yeah,
I was like, "Wow,
you
imagine
know-
eating like this every night."
Big
That
potato
is-
me up, boys.
You guys already know that we are huge fans of iconic brands around here. Our Olivia recently had her own bundle out with them and everyone went mental for it. It's one of them brands that just get it whenever it comes to getting that flawless glow.
We love it. And they also just released their own skincare range, which is unbelievable. It is so hydrating. It leaves your skin so well prepped for the week ahead, whether you're doing a fresh layer of tan, whether you're going out with the girls or having a makeup free day.
It feels luxurious without having that luxury price tag. It's affordable, it's accessible, and it's also an Irish brand, so it makes you feel extra good about picking that up.
And because you're part of our Girls Group Chat gang, you can get 30% off everything at iconicbrands.ie using our code, which is Girls Group Chat 30. Stock up on your favourites and you can glow all year round.
We are so excited that That Prize Guy is a proud sponsor of the Girls Group Chat podcast. If you haven't heard about That Prize Guy competitions, come out from under your rock.
The current competitions are 70k cash, 50k cash and 40k cash. They give these away almost every single day, and they give away cars such as Land Rover Defenders, Audis Q3 and the most unreal holiday destinations like Mexico.
And you can get in touch for like wedding favours and private event competitions. There's loads of instant win competitions on the website, so you literally enter, and if you like, you just, the money goes into your account there and then, which is obviously class. And you might even join loads of people who are now millionaires thanks to That Prize Guy.
Absolutely class. So go give yourself a chance to win. Head to thatprizeguy.co.uk and please remember to play responsibly. Keep it fun. As you know, we all absolutely love the walk-in wardrobe, and they've actually styled us for today's episode very kindly. And their owner and founder, Laura, now has her very own brand called Love Laura, which we're all totally obsessed with.
What we love most about walk-in wardrobe, me especially, I love this, that it's designed by women for women, and they really take that into account. Every single piece is dreamed up, sampled and tested by a team of women who know exactly what it takes to make a woman feel good.
And it's all about like the fabric, the fit and the feel. So it's clothes that aren't just nice for a wee night out or a day trip. They're literally staples in your wardrobe, so you can literally live in them, because we all do. We wear our walk-in wardrobe stuff
Literally.
to the day.
Yeah.
All my nicest clothes, 100%
we
walk-in
just
wardrobe.
we just rotate the outfits. So if you are ready for a wardrobe refresh, head to the Walk-In Wardrobe online or in store and use the code GGC20 for 20% off. Now this does exclude the Love Laura collection, but includes everything else.
Can we use our own discount code?
Yeah.
Like, we're in
Yeah.
the walk-in wardrobe enough. I'm going to try it.
That's actually a good point, yeah. Happy shopping.
That is like if Sean and I get a few hours child free and you're all, what are we going to do? And then you're like, will we drink? Will we have a nice meal? Will we nap? Will we ride? Will we watch something? Will we just sit in silence? Will we doom scroll? And then you're like, and then all of a sudden you have to go pick him up because you spent the whole time trying to figure out what to do, and you're like, oh, we wasted that.
But even the fantasizing maybe is kind of nice. Just thinking of all the possibilities.
Yes.
What is the phrase? I don't know it, but it's something about like having too many options is the devil. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like how you having too many options.
There is a saying about that.
Something is the something of the something.
If you know what,
That's it.
comment it.
That one.
Yeah. But yeah, being too spoiled for choice is almost like a curse, isn't it? Like everything's almost too accessible and too easy.
It's like those like billionaires who like, do you ever read one of the like EasyJet or Ryanair magazines? And it's all like, you know, crazy excursions that you can book to go on, and it's like a billionaire's holiday, and they like rent a UFO and go to, you know what I mean? And you're like,
Katy Perry.
they're no longer buzzing off it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like they get their own submarine down to the Titanic and they have a wee juke.
And die.
That does not go well.
No, it
I've
doesn't.
heard.
No.
What else would send a Victorian child into orbit apart from Haribo Tang Fastics? Is there anything more shocking than a Haribo Tang Fastic?
Instagram.
TikTok trends. Yeah.
I was on the phone with my mum earlier. She's in Corfu at the minute, mum and dad, and she was saying she saw a girl by the pool in like a lovely bikini, and she was obviously taking photos for her Instagram. She's like, "Oh, it just reminded me of you. You had to get every angle, make sure the lighting was right." And I thought, "Oh, you know, we're just so not in that generation." I went, "You're so lucky." And she said, "Oh, well, I am and I'm not. Like, you know, you get lots of great opportunities through social media." And I said, "Yeah, but you live in the moment. Like, you're not thinking about, oh, is the light right now? Is the angle right? Do I need a photo at this moment?" Like, you're kind of lucky to be in that generation that doesn't think twice about it.
And them old photos are the best photos. I went through looking at old photos last week when my grandest went into a nursing home, and they are gold. Like old photos where you're not worrying about lighting, like even like my mum and stuff, and they're so beautiful, and they're not worried, and it's just so natural. And I was looking at photos of my mum being like, "You are gorgeous, like look at these photos," and there's no thought into it. You might even, they're not even centered, you know, you could be taking a photo of someone and they're off to the left, but the actual photo is just so much nicer than our posed photo.
And they're so much more precious because there's very few of them, and they're like, they go to somebody's wedding, there's 3 photographs of the entire day of everybody, and that's it.
But also then you were only taking photos. I don't know if it's because film was expensive or it just wasn't something people were doing as much then, but you only took photos on times where you were genuinely really happy. So like if you were at a event or a wedding or on holiday, whereas now, even if we can't be arsed be at an event or you don't want to be there, you've had the worst night ever, you're still going to make sure you get the photo because you've bothered brushing your hair and putting on an outfit. So you could actually look at a photo, and I have so many pictures like this where I look and go, I look unreal, but I remember I had a miserable night that night, or like I remember having a fight with my boyfriend that night and stuff. It's so funny how photos hold so many memories, or even how down you were feeling about yourself. It's that old thing of like looking back in a picture where you were like tiny and gorgeous and you go, I remember feeling hideous that night. And it is actually kind of sad how photos can lie very easily nowadays. Didn't mean to get so deep.
No, but it's true, because I feel like I constantly toy between like, do you like, what do you want out of your life and all? Because like in one hand I love what I do, and I love being a busy bee. I buzz off being hectically busy, and then in the other hand you're like, oh my god, imagine just like deleting social media, throwing your phone in the bin, and you'd be like, oh, you can't exist like that. But you can. And people do. You know, like, and you wonder what that life, do you like, if you were shown, if someone like put a VR headset in front of you and went, this is what your life would look like if you continued like this, or if you literally just threw caution to the wind, lived off the land, like lived in a little cottage in a farm somewhere and didn't have any access to social media or even TV, like you didn't know anything about the world. Imagine actually even how happier you'd be if you didn't know all the awful things that happen in the world. Like I think I cry every day about something sad that's happened to somebody else. Because it's 100%. So awful, the things that can happen in the world. And sometimes bliss or ignorance is bliss, you know, and you're like, I wish I didn't know that happened to wee kids, and I wish I didn't know that happened to my neighbour, you know that sort of way. So sometimes I'm like, imagine if you
information's
just did
just so easily accessible that sometimes it's unwanted information.
Oh my god,
you're just you might be mentally prepared for it.
Yes, that's so true actually, because we know so much about other people's lives.
And that was never the intention. It was not meant to be that way.
No, definitely not. And I nearly feel like sometimes I'm scrolling and I've thought about other people more than I've thought about myself that day.
Totally.
Like I've just got up and just went about my day, and I've been scrolling and I've just been thinking about everything else, and I haven't even thought like how I feel today. Do you know, like I've got to maybe like 1 p.m. and I haven't even thought, am I okay? Like, am I having a good day? Do you know what I mean? Like you're just floating through life.
No, that's so true.
I remember at one point, do you know, always saying, because there was that trend that came about before, and it was like, here's what I post versus here's what, you know, one of the other takes, and it's people being really honest about like, you know, obviously this is the highlight reel, this is what I'm posting, but this is what the actual truth is behind that day or behind the photograph. And I remember starting to roll my eyes as they were like more and more coming through, because I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, everyone knows it's a highlight reel, you don't need to remind people. And I was like, but actually you do.
You definitely
you do, because people still would think that like that's your real life. Like I saw a thing, I think I seen you reposted, Shannon, and it was like, if your mental health's bad from watching social media because you're always being told you need to buy this, you're always being told you need a new product, you're always being told you don't live in a nice enough house and all these sorts of things, and you just don't, because you believe exactly what they post. Like most of what I post is comedy stuff. I'm trying to be funny and trying to sell myself as someone who does comedy, and also trying to you know, brighten up people's day or whatever. But you know, I'm sure you'd watch my content and go, oh, she must have great crack all day in her house.
Yeah.
That's what people say to me and Sean all the time because we're two comedians. Oh, you two must just laugh in the house all day. And you're like,
As if you're just sitting cracking jokes with
Aye.
each other
and
all
you're
day.
like, we're two of the most miserable people half the time. Do you know
What
what
I
I mean?
always say about you.
Yeah.
Miserable.
Or like they think you're an extrovert because you're on social
Yes,
media and doing stuff.
100%.
And you're like,
Yeah.
I'm absolutely.
I notice that more and more. Like the more people that I meet, you know, there's so many people doing social media now, and like girls coming in new to it. And like recently, I've met girls and been like, "Whoa, you are really calm and really shy, but on
Yes.
social media, you're so opinionated in personality, and then in real life, you're quiet as a peep."
Yeah.
Do you know? And it's like two completely different people. And I'm not saying that in a negative way either.
No,
Because
yeah.
I actually think it's good that maybe they feel comfortable coming out of their shell on social media. But and it's not me saying, oh, people are different in real life than they are on social media. It's just their personalities are different. They're obviously the
Yeah.
same person,
Yeah.
but there's
But
It's-
also,
it's
sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
It's nearly like with social media as well. You when you're filming, it's just you and your phone.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
like it's just you and you're in your comfortable environment, you're doing what you want to do, you can edit out the things that you don't want to say. So when people are out in a crowd, because I would be a little bit like this, I'm not like this as much anymore, but definitely when I started social media, when I went into a crowd I fucking froze and I couldn't speak to anybody because I was like, oh shit. And especially more actually when I was like when as people started following me, I panicked more because I was like,
I've got worse. I used to
it's
be
scary.
I was the opposite of you. So I would have when I started social media, I would have went in the crowd, not give a shit, like would have talked and whatever. And I've only found myself recently now going to like, and I don't really go to events anymore. But when I do go, I'm nearly sat like back, and I don't know what it is, and I haven't pinpointed it. But my outgoingness has nearly went away more. But then I kind of just go, is it because you're just doing a lot of the same things? I don't know.
It's probably like you're just desensitized
Yeah.
to like the nice life of going to events. And you're probably just like, oh, I this isn't real life. I'm going to go back and live my real life after
Yeah.
this. So it's
Yeah.
almost like there's only a certain amount of enjoyment. Like there was a long time, like after I had kids in general too, I think there was, and I even still struggle now to enjoy anything. Like, and so does Sean, and we both have conversations all the time being like, why can I not just have a good time? Like, why can I not thoroughly enjoy this without worrying about something else or thinking about something else or overthinking this scenario? Like, my best friend would say to me all the time about, like, if I say yes to doing something that she knows I'm going to pull out and go back in and pull out and go back in 10 times before it actually happens, because I'll just be like, I'm not going to enjoy that, so I'm not go. And I go, no, wise up and go and try and enjoy something, and then I'm back and forth because I genuinely find it really difficult to actually enjoy anything social.
Yeah.
I'm having an awful time right now.
Right, do you think that's because you're a parent and you're constantly worried on that side of things, or do you think it's because as a self-employed woman in the entertainment industry, you're like addicted to working? Do you think you feel a guilt when you're doing something purely for enjoyment?
100%. That is really what the premise of the Get Your Pink Back thing was from. And I was like, try and fucking do something. Like Sean would say to me all the time, can you do something that's not work and parenting? Can you find something? And I'm like, I love working. I love being with my kids. So that's where I get my enjoyment from. But it's a funny type of enjoyment because they're both come with such high levels of responsibility.
And pressure and stress.
Yeah, there's stressful enjoyment, but I buzz in at the end of it because I'm all whatever. So I don't know if it is from. I feel like after I had kids, after I had postnatal depression, after I was medicated for that, my feelings went very numb. And even doing online stuff, the amount of negative stuff you would get, I went very numb. In the sense, I was like, you can't defend me ever. You can't say anything that would annoy me. Like nobody could slag me off, and that would bother me ever.
And that's actually a bad thing too.
It's not a good thing.
You know, it's not a great thing. It is
You're
good,
not meant to
obviously,
be
for your work, but you
desensitized
shouldn't
to
be.
nastiness.
You should not. You should not care what anybody thinks about you too. Do you know?
And I do think by becoming desensitized to negativity, I also became desensitized to positive things as well.
Yes.
Then I was like, I just don't really
None
feel
of it means anything.
None of it really means anything. I'm not sentimental about things. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing. There's. I wouldn't keep things like that. I find it very hard to like squeeze enjoyment out of anything. I think obviously, like after I had winter, I had bad postnatal depression and spent the entire time pretending I didn't, and so you're just like pretending to have a nice day all the time
It
when
just
you're
becomes
not.
second nature to pretend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, though, our jobs as well, all of us perform for a living in some way. Like, you kind of always have to be on, even if you're out and about and people want a selfie with you, or you have to do a video on a day where you're in shite form, or I have to go on the radio, you have to do a show or whatever. Is there any, and this might be quite an emotional thing to discuss, but can you pinpoint any specific time you recall where like you were in the pits and you still had to rally and like do the thing, because it's kind of what we've chosen to do?
Yeah.
The reason I ask is because like obviously everyone has bad times, everyone does, but since I've been in radio, I've been like, if I was having a really shit day and I had an office job, I would go in and say to my desk neighbour, here, I'm having a shit day, don't talk to me, put my head down, and I could probably get through the day without having to speak to anyone, and certainly wouldn't have to pretend to be in a good mood. Whereas, I'm not saying I'm a miserable person day in, day out, and anytime you hear me happy, I'm pretending, but regardless what happens in my personal life, or who's annoyed me or whatever, that has to be put to the side for me to do my job properly. I can't do my job.
It's like you said
and be
during
miserable.
COVID, you having to work during COVID
Yeah.
when you were really...
That's a great example. Like COVID, some days were just awful. Mine and everyone's mental health was in the bin, but I was so aware of the fact that I was maybe the only voice some people were going to hear that day. Well, not me, but like the station in general. We were so many people's company and got so many messages to that effect saying like, you guys are really getting me through it, and I keep doing what you're doing. But it was actually taking everything I had in the world to just get out of bed, to be there, to be present, to do my job. And my co-host at the time was going through a difficult time on top of it being COVID, like his personal life. So I'm trying to be strong for him and be strong for myself. And my granny was in hospital and it was lockdown, and it was just so difficult.
A whirlwind of shit.
Oh my God. But you're really conscious that you're the voice waking people up and being like, it's going to be okay.
You have to be positive.
You try not to patronize people, but no one wants to hear me come on the radio when the world's in diffs being like, it really is shite, isn't it, everybody? Like, you have to push against that, which helps me in a way
like a form of
sometimes, because it
acting.
forces you into a good mood sometimes.
Yeah.
But it can be really, really difficult. So I just wonder, do you sort of relate to that?
I like literally 8 days after I had winter, I was on TV, and it was same time, the exact same time frame. It was during COVID, and I know I've spoken about it in the podcast before. And it was my first child, and I was so ill as well with COVID, but I was out of the contagious period, so I was able to go and film. And we were doing the blame game with no live audience. They were all on a screen on Zoom, so there was like a couple hundred people on Zoom screens, and it was such a bizarre thing. And Sean had winter in my dressing room, and she was like 8 days old. And I had to write jokes all week that week on the topical news. That's why we work it with the blame game. So like you read the news stories and you write funny jokes based on whatever happened that week in the news. And obviously what was happening in the news was desperate. It was awful. And you're like trying to make jokes about, you're trying to not talk about, you know, all of the deaths of COVID and try and focus on something else, like some fucking sheep storming a spar in Rasharkin or something. And I remember just all week in the house writing jokes whilst, you know, nipples bleeding in pain, breastfeeding, and a baby who never slept, and I'm vomiting, and I'm so fucking sick, and so depressed and so down, and crying constantly and not getting any sleep, and having to write funny jokes, and then having to go and get showered and dressed and sit on a TV set and act as if, and I'm on set with all men. It is all men, and they have no idea what I'm going through. None. And Winter's screaming, crying the whole time in my dressing room, and I'm just like in a completely different place. And I remember just being like, this is so unfair, because I had to do it because I don't get paid maternity leave. I need to earn money, and I have to be here purely to do my job. And also I had the constant fear like that if I don't do these jobs, whilst like nobody should be working 8 days after, especially on TV, 8 days after they have a baby. But I was so conscious that if I don't do it, somebody else will take my spot. And I'm gone then. You know, you've only got one shot. And I was like, you have to, I had to be there. And I just feel like that is not the same for a man. Like when, you know, when I had a baby, it was like nobody even, I remember nobody even at the time going to me, should you not be on maternity leave? Like, should you not be taking any time off? It was like, no, there was no slowdown in the emails coming through. There was no, you know, nothing, like, and you're just like powering through it. And at the time I remember just being like, I didn't want to be a mom anymore. I was like, I can't believe, but at the same time I was so attached to her. It was like, so like I can't leave her, she can't be out of my sight or I'll not be able to cope. I honestly felt like someone had taken out my organs and put them on the table, and then they were like, and I couldn't leave the room without holding the organs. Do you know what I mean? So it was obviously like such an awfully hard time, but I had to just, and as well, it was like, it reminded me of that, you know that thing where like the person goes to the doctor and they're like the whole, you know, I'm really depressed, and they're like, oh, go see the clown. The clown's in town. The clown will cheer you up. And they're like, but I'm the clown. Oh my God, I'm gonna get this. I was like, I'm the fucking clown. I'm the clown here. My job is to be the clown. How can I be happy when I'm the clown who's sad? And that's what I just felt the whole time. I was like, I don't know how I'm supposed to be happy. How am I supposed to be funny? Like, it was a time where I was like, why is jokes my job at this stage? I'd rather anything else other than have to tell jokes during this hard time. But you just had to do it, and I always feel so shit. Now, it's only something recently that I'm thinking a while out about, going, I hate that I enjoy that I've talked so much about having postnatal depression, because a lot of people have reached out to me going, I feel seen, and I'm in the depths of that right now, and that breaks my heart. But at the same time, I feel so bad that my daughter's going to see me talk about her all the time and be like, Jesus Christ, like, you told everyone that basically I ruined your life. You know, like, I feel so shit that she's going to someday see the amount of times I've been like, she was really difficult as a baby, and I really was so sad, and it was because I'd had her, and I don't know how I'm going to digest that and talk to her when she's older and be like, I don't mean you're perfect. Yeah. Like, you're perfect. You were perfect the whole time. It was just that the experience was hard, you know.
By the time she's old enough to understand what that is, right, she's not going to reach 8 or 10 or whatever age you start opening YouTube. I'll be like, I'm going to specifically search for clips of my mum talking about postnatal depression. By the time she knows what that is and what comes along with it, she'll be she'll be so proud of you, Diona.
Yeah, she will.
Like, she will know. Like, you went to work 8 days after she was born to give her an amazing life, and you told the jokes, and no one will have known that you were in the pits. Not because of her specifically as a person or as a baby or as an individual. You had a mental health condition, postnatal depression. Like, you should be so proud of yourself, as she will be.
It's just that worried. You know, when young teenagers can't.
But the difference is your Winter is going to know how loved she is and how much of an amazing life she had, that she's not going to see a clip of you saying, oh, I was a bit sad, you know, whatever. She's not going to see that and be like, oh, you don't like me then. She's going to know how loved she was and is and appreciated, that she's not going to question anything there.
It just feels like a double-edged sword. Like, I feel like I'm doing the right thing by talking about it, and I didn't talk about it at the time, which is always funny because no one ever does. Whenever they're in the pits, you don't talk about it at the time. It's only when you have the beauty of hindsight and the strength. And I still always get sad when I think about it, because it was such a sad time that should have been nice. And it's just that constant worry. Now, only this past few months, I've went, Jesus Christ, she's going to see me talk about that when she's older. And I think when she's in her 20s and older, she'll be able to, as a woman, go, I understand. Yeah. But I just worry when she's like 12, 13, 14-year-old her, is she going to be like, what the hell? When the teenagers just don't, they're not fully, their brains aren't fully formed yet. I just hope that she doesn't go through a stage where she resents me for not resenting that time in my life.
Be too busy being embarrassed, like getting your bobs out and throwing your pants down at every opportunity. Tidal wave and all women.
Going into some pool in your jail.
You're not in jail.
She'll see this bit of this podcast and be like, no, it wasn't that I was worried about. It was all the stories you talked about.
She'll be like, why are you crying over that? More concerned about the tidal wave and the granite.
They are amazing for speaking out about it.
You're amazing.
And genuinely, anyone who watched that episode of the Blame Game, I guarantee not one person watched it and went, oh, she's a bit sad. And that is the crazy thing about having a performative job. Like, I have no doubt that you switched it on, you delivered, and only you knew in your closest circle how you were struggling.
It is a form of acting.
Yeah.
What about you? Have you any times you can think of?
I'm very big on, unless I absolutely have to, there's a deadline, but if I'm having a bad day, I will not post on social media. I could probably count on how many times that I've absolutely had to do it, but I'm in a very privileged situation with doing social media that I can, you know, kind of go, not feeling it. I've done it for like weeks at a time sometimes, well, maximum a week if we've had a death in the family and stuff. But I had an event I was doing for a makeup brand that I was doing, like, hosting it, and it was tickets sold, and it was on a specific night, and my nanny was dying with cancer, and she'd got syringe driver in or whatever, and she'd spoke to me before, and I said, look, I'm going to cancel things I have on this week. In the back of my head, I was going, this is an absolute melt. People have messaged me to tell me they've booked hotels for this. They've messaged me that they've got days off work. But I was like, I want to be here. It's going to happen probably in the next few days. And my nanny was like, you're not. You're going and you're doing your work, and that's what makes me proud and whatever else. So by the time the day of the event came, I had messaged the brand and they'd said, look, if you want to cancel, cancel. But I just knew, like, this is actually going to end up worse for me because I'm going to feel shit about my nanny. I'm going to feel shit about cancelling. People's going to be annoyed at me. I'm going to have to reschedule it, and there's going to be so much work comes with it. I think I'm better going. And I ended up going, and I felt like shit the whole time. But I was like, these people have paid money to be here. I have to switch on and give them what they've paid for. And it was so hard. Like, I mentioned it to a few people that if I'm a bit fucked up here, I have a lot going on. And it was really, really, really hard. Really hard. And even trying to get words out whenever all that's going on in your head is, oh my God, my nanny could have just died. That's all I could think. And it ended up being, this is mental. Like, this is mental. My daddy had said to me that I was kind of getting ready and stuff. He says, if she dies before your event, I will text you and you can just cancel it because I know you'll not want to do it and you'll want to come up to the house, blah, blah, blah. But I got out of the event and checked my phone and my dad hadn't texted me, and I was like, what? And I started driving to my nanny's house and I walked in the door. Like, I must have been walking up her path as my nanny passed.
Oh my God.
Stop.
And I am convinced she
was
held
waiting
on till she knew that my event was done.
Oh, God love her.
And, like, honestly, as I walked in the door, and I was like, obviously heartbroken, but I was like, she knew. Like, she knew that I had to do that to save myself the stress in a week's time of then having to do it, and then it would bring back the same memories and letting people down and whatever else. And she knew. Like, she
Do you know, I think that is absolutely a thing. Like, I think
Definitely.
people do, like, a lot of people when they're dying or whatever, I do think a lot of people, like, go at the right time and
they hold on or they wait for the right moment.
When my granny was passing away, she was like, you know, you're like dying over a long period of time, like a couple of weeks, and she had died of cancer as well. But my daddy was living in Madrid for a year because he was studying. He went back to uni and he was doing a Spanish degree, so he was in Madrid for a year teaching Spanish in a primary school. And this was only about, say, 10 years ago. And my mommy had been caring for my granny quite a lot. I had been doing like 2 nights a week. My mommy had been doing like 3 or 4 nights a week. And my granny had been like passing away slowly, but she died. My daddy came back from Madrid, and he'd been away for like 4 months at the stage, like the term time. So she died in December, just before Christmas. And when he flew back that day and got to the house, she passed away a few hours later. And I remember thinking, she knew my mommy needed my daddy.
Aye.
And she couldn't pass away when he was out of the country and she wouldn't have him, you know. And I was like, that is like insane, isn't it? When you just think,
So mad.
and there's I'd say most
So
people
many
have a story like
situations.
that.
Yeah.
My other nanny had a situation similar as well, that it was, she waited for it to be the right time. People were with her 24/7, like my family were there 24/7 in that hospital, and everyone was like, we'll go and get a wee coffee. Her heartbeat was fine, everything. And my uncle, everyone walked back in the room, my uncle went, she's passed. And it was, she didn't want people to be around her. And like, it was the only time in probably 2 weeks. Like, my cousin slept
She was
on the
on her own,
floor.
yeah.
It was the only time in 2 weeks that no one was in that room. And like that, and that is my nanny to a T. Like, when I tell you my nanny Pat would have been like, can you all fuck off and leave me be? So
I'll be like, not till everybody's here. There's gonna be a show. I want my final curtain call. Use my applause on my way out.
jeez.
Do you ever hear that, the weight of a soul? What's that? There's a book. Is it called like something like 13 ounces or something like that there? Or what?
I don't know.
There's a thing that when people pass away, their body immediately weighs like 13 ounces less or something. They say that's the weight of a soul.
Your soul.
But it's like it's a biological fact. And I don't know what the weight is. I'm making up it's 13 ounces, whatever it is. But the people say that's the weight of the soul.
Gosh.
That's crazy.
Go crazy.
What about you with all your dramas you're bound to have had? No, but like, you've had such a fucking rough go and such a public facing job the entire time.
Before Olivia even speaks, the amount of times that we've been around Olivia,
Aye.
and
I'm
Olivia
not
has
in it, yeah.
been life and soul entertainment of the day, and not knowing until you've maybe said a few days later, oh, it was in a really bad way.
Oh, why?
The amount of times
Oh,
that
no.
has happened, and we have actually
Yeah.
really felt guilty.
And because you don't know how much pain she's in.
Yeah, I can speak for probably a lot of women with endometriosis that we live our lives in pain, and I live a very public life, but I also live a life where I go into people's wedding mornings and it's the biggest day of their life, and I sometimes haven't slept the night before because I haven't been able to with the pain, or I've been in A&E the night before and I have to go to their wedding, and it's just like, there's one time that I do obviously remember more than any other time because I'm so used to living my life in pain. Like I just can do it. Like it doesn't even bother me. There's very few times where I would never cancel on anyone. I would never cancel on a wedding. I'd never cancel on an event. I'd never do it because I just think I can fucking be, it's fine. And whenever I was in menopause, and I was fucking like, I was in menopause when I was 24, pissed off anyway. And when I was in menopause, I had insomnia, so there would be times where I hadn't slept for like 10 days at a time.
Christ.
So it was 10 days, and I had 3 businesses at the time. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, but I had 3 different businesses, and I was so busy. I was single. I've told my menopause story before, obviously, and I didn't know like what the crack was going to be with like my fertility and stuff. And at the time, I didn't really know what the crack was with, if I even wanted kids or if I didn't. And I walked into a wedding morning, I hadn't slept, I was in so much pain, I was bleeding, I was fucking pissed off. And even at that, they were talking obviously about the wedding, and I was doing the makeup and it was great, I was in loads of pain. And she was obviously talking about how she'd met her husband and it was so lovely, and I was single at the time, and at the time I was just like, no one's ever going to love me. Because I am a woman who's been in menopause, I have alopecia and my ovaries don't work. And then another girl got into the chair and she was telling me that she just found out she was pregnant. And she was talking about like, you know, she was so excited to have this baby and everything. And I just had to go into the toilet and cry and be sick. I vomited. I came back out, did the whole wedding, and then I just left. And I just thought, my life is so fucking crazy compared to what people think is going on. Do you know? Like I was like, and they were like, what about you? And I'm like, oh yeah, 100%. Like, you know, I'm single, like living the life and all. And it's so crazy now that was the same year that I met Ben. And my life is so different now. But I just think about that. I always think about that day. And I just remember thinking like, no, I'm never going to have this. And I'm never going to have happiness. And I'm always just going to be that girl that like her fucking ovaries are going to take over her life, you know? And I just...
It's insane to think though, because you're such a professional and so good at what you do, they would never have had a clue that you were going through all that, whilst because you're like trying to give them the best morning.
By the fact they felt like comfortable telling you things like that. Because if you get a vibe of someone that they're down, the last thing you do is tell them the good things. You know, that's just human nature. If you've sensed it, so they have obviously felt comfortable enough thinking that you were in a good form, in a good way, that they could say them things, and that's just credit to...
But I wonder, there's so many times, and we all obviously know you really well, we all obviously put on a brave face many's a day, so we should be very attuned to you, but yet there's still so many times where we'll have done a podcast and you've been hilarious, or you've been really thoughtful and gone above and beyond for us as a group, and then as Shannon says, it's days later where you're like, oh, I was having a horrific flare-up, or this happened or that happened. Do you talk to someone about that? Like, do you let Ben know, or Ben knows? Do you constantly keep stuff inside you?
So my mummy is really like not funny, but my mummy will just look at me and go, "You're in pain."
Okay.
Like all the time. I can do a full wig workship and she goes, "You're in pain" during that, and I'll not say anything. I'll not do it. She just always knows.
I've heard your mummy say that before.
Have you?
I've heard your mummy say, I think it was, what were we doing? And your mummy said to me,
oh, it was our launch party. Or the Sunday social, was one or the other.
Was it Victoria Square when we were? There was something, and your mummy had said to me, she's in pain, she needs tablets.
Yeah, my mummy always has tablets in her bag. Like she always doesn't leave the house without them. But for me,
do you know what one of my biggest goals is for me and Winter to be like you and your mummy?
Really?
I just think you have the most beautiful relationship, and it is like goals for mother daughter. Like I would be a happy mum if I had you as my daughter.
I cried texting your mum the day after you got engaged.
Don't get me wrong, we kill each other too, like, because we're so alike. But me and her went to a wig workshop 2.5 weeks after I had my surgery, and I hosted a wig workshop, and the whole time I could see her, she kept looking at me. I had to stop looking at her because she was crying the whole time I was doing it, because she knew that I was in pain, and I was just like, I don't care, like I can do it because I want to do it. I want to do all the things, because I would never let endometriosis take over my life, and I don't want that to happen. And with alopecia stuff, like I'm at a place where it's so class, it's fine, but with the endo stuff, it just how do you be you when you're in pain? But I think I am me, but I'm also in pain. It's part of me.
It's part of
it is
what
it is.
I think even just the fucking menstrual cycle in general is like so like like basically you get 2 weeks out of the month where you're your normal self,
feel
and
okay.
two,
So
50% of your life is fucking ruled
Do you
by
remember
your
a couple of weeks ago
cycle.
on here I said I'm going to start using the Flow app?
Yeah.
Shit at it. 19.99 I paid for the year.
Love that for you.
So there's
What
no
have-
going back.
what have we
Sponsor me, Flow.
What have we discovered?
Fuck all. Really, I haven't been doing it long enough. When you've been doing it a month,
You need a
so
couple
you have
months.
to. But I've been
Yeah.
actually actively doing it. I was sitting last night with Kieran. He was like, "What are you at?" I was like, "Logging what I'm doing for the day." And he was like, "What shit do you put in that?"
No,
he
I
was
know.
looking, and he was like, "Oh my god, it's better than the last time I was on it." So the
Okay.
last time I used it, you can't just put your period in if you're happy, sad. Oh my god, the
The detail.
really?
the details it takes now. Pure
But
journey.
it does dictate
Yeah.
your day
Yeah,
so
it
much.
does.
Like even this morning, we all arrived to do a job together, and I had slept in, and it wasn't time sensitive. It didn't matter really, and I burst into tears as soon as I arrived. But I am on my period,
Yeah.
so I mean, obviously I was annoyed and like flustered and stuff like that. But it was made so much worse by the fact that I'm really, really hormonal, and I did not snap out of that mood I was in. Obviously, you cheered me up, of course, saying you and left, haven't had a giggle. But I got into work and I was like a bear, and I didn't want to speak to anybody. I didn't want to bounce on the radio and be like, "Oh, here's a fucking song." But
I'd love if that's how you did your show.
here's a
Here's a fucking song, ya bastards.
But you just have to as a woman, like
Yeah.
whether your job's
But we
performative or
shouldn't.
not, like you
I
just
know.
have to be like, "I'm fine."
There should be a thing. Like I had
There should be like a wee sticker you like change each day to be like what stage of the month
Yeah,
you're on, so
not
you can
good.
like.
But
A
this is the
wristband,
thing.
Don't talk to me.
but workplaces, like women should have leave.
Yeah.
For the like heaviest 24 hours or 2 days, whatever it is, on their pay, they should have paid leave, because you shouldn't be like, I don't know what it is in the Richter scale or whatever, but it's like the level of pain that women can experience during their periods is akin to like kidney stones.
Even the bleeding thing, even
Yeah.
the bleeding. So this is probably TMI, but I'm going to get into it. I think I've definitely spoke to you about this before. I was put on the pill very, 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 very young for pain. It was never investigated. It was just put in a pill. I then, before I went to Australia, went in the implant. It really fucked me up. I bled for months straight. Don't know what that was about. Then they put me on the pill with the implants. So then I was like, what am I doing? I'm on both
Yeah.
now. So took the implant out, and then I've just been on nothing. And this is like the first time, because obviously it takes like a year to actually regulate. This is the first time that I've actually seen a proper period since I was like 13.
that's not
That's
regulated.
not regulated by hormones
Yeah.
or whatever. So I'm like getting used to what my normal period is, and I've never had like heavy. I've always said, "Oh, I get a light period," because I was on the pill.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Oh,
See, the first day, I can't really leave the house for more than 20 minutes because I'm having to go change a pad,
yeah,
change a
you've
tampon.
had a few mares.
Yeah.
Oh my god! So like, how can you sit in a
workplace?
Yeah.
on that heavy of a period without
I know.
bleeding, without
Yeah.
like, I mean, I have to be constantly, and even the judgment then of constantly going to the toilet and all and feeling, or
Yeah.
maybe because I know in certain workplaces I worked in, I would have been pulled up in that, like, why are you going to the toilet so much?
And even
Yeah.
in school, if you're a
Yeah.
teenage girl in school,
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
you
free
can't go to the toilet constantly. Like, you're not allowed to. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like, you should just be allowed. Like, I've had seizures off the back of being in so much pain because of having really heavy periods, and it must be a genetic thing, because like all the women in my family have all had like really, really, really heavy periods. But like, there has to be some sort of regulation brought on where women can just like have a day or two off work during that time. And that everybody, boys in schools, should be educated about the menstrual cycle so that they know how to. Do you know what it's like whenever if someone has a diagnosis of any sort of mental disorder, then you go, okay, now I know how to approach that person because I'm
Understand it.
aware of what their things are that
Yeah.
irritate them, and it's not their fault. It's down to maybe they have ADHD, or maybe they have autism, or they're depressed, or like different things. That's what we should be teaching boys in
Instead
school
of the
too.
attitude just being, oh, you're obviously on your period.
Because it's like a
Yeah.
slag.
Actually
I know.
exactly.
Oh, you're on a
actually
period, are you?
understand the hormones and how they affect your body.
Aye.
That it's not just, oh, time of the month.
I
Like,
was just
how many times do
acceptable
you hear that?
to like not have to justify why you don't want someone to speak to you, like just to walk in and be
Or
like,
finger
not
geek.
today, or,
Not
or
today.
you know that. But like, I walked into the newsroom today and Jim was on news, and he's the most pleasant, loveliest man ever, but I was just so frazzled and rattled and couldn't be arsed speaking to anybody, and I just wanted to go in and be like, not today, Jim. But he didn't deserve that.
Aye.
But if there was like an unwritten law that he could have understood that I was on my time of the month and that I've had a bad morning, I really, really wish that was the thing.
You should be able to come in. Do people
go,
come
"No."
in to work and they're like, oh, I'm really hungover, my head's banging, don't talk to me. You should be able to come in and go, here, I'm in a really heavy period, don't talk to me. It should be just as normalised that.
Aye.
But I swear, it won't ever be.
No.
It won't ever be. The work we'll do won't ever be enough to be like, I'm on a really heavy period, don't talk to me. I've got 3 pairs of jeans in my bag in case I bleed through.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Also,
Got
just don't
2
talk to me in general.
tampons on and
Ever.
6 pads.
Yeah.
See,
2
just talking.
tampons on. Go you.
Talking and running to the toilet just to end this on a lighter note. Just speaking of times where you had to pretend to be okay and you weren't. I was on a date when I was 16.
Oh fuck.
Here we go. And it wasn't really
Strap
a date.
in.
He came over to the house where I was babysitting to watch a film. It was very, very innocent. I was babysitting for a lovely
That's
lady at the
very
time. She knew he was
Americanised
coming over.
TV
I was
show,
like,
isn't it?
He was called Kyle and he was a drummer. And I said to my boss,
What is it, Shannon?
honestly, he was a drummer in a Christian band. And I said
Sorry,
to my boss,
The plot thickens.
Whoa, what
It's
the fuck
not a
is a
Hallmark
Christian
movie.
band?
Give us more
he'd
details.
be like,
Oh, yeah, they
God
don't-
is great or whatever.
They don't have that in Catholic churches. Like, so some, like the Elim, you know, what's the Elim church not like?
Exactly.
Jesus.
You know, like the
It's
happy
a
Big up
rally.
the Elam, bro.
They have a full band, drums, guitarists, singers, like, and they're
That's
all
so
like,
fun.
"Woo."
Do you know
But
like a happy clappy
you
church?
don't even sing in mass, sure you don't.
We've got a choir, like
Hymns.
comes out
The-
at Christmas.
No drummer.
I
No,
was-
not a drum. You got a boy
in-
on a tambourine.
I was at a chapel the other week and near died off when the priest started singing.
Yeah.
I was like, what's he at?
Yeah.
He was going,
Oh,
singing. And then I said to someone beside me that knows him, and I've actually been to one of your churches before and you sing the hymns yourself. And I was like,
Aye.
yeah, the way it should be.
You get an odd like
Yeah.
priest that likes to now sing.
We just
Yeah.
no, and he's just like through him with him in the holy unity of the.
And they're like, I've been to the Vatican before, and
Yeah.
here's a song that I heard there, and you're like, fuck up, lad.
They almost sing, and they're not really singing. They're just all God
your
today. Yeah.
It's the same sound bite if you were to take the episode you talking
Yeah.
about the sound
Yeah.
bath and that.
Sound bath with Father Manili.
So I was on a date with a
Yes.
singing priest,
Yeah.
right? And I'd said to the lady like that he's gonna come over. She's like, "Oh, that's fine. Like, watch film. There's some popcorn and whatnot." But at the time, I was an impressionable teenager, and Halt and Bart was having a real moment, and everyone was all, you know, like boo tea,
The pennies, yeah.
Yes,
all that sort of
booty.
stuff.
Yeah.
So I got this stuff called Slimmer tea, 1 cup a day, and you'll
Oh.
shit yourself for weeks,
fuck.
kind of thing, right? So we were
Oh,
meant to
God,
brew 1 cup of Slimmer tea once a day for 1 minute, and it was very specific on the packet, like, this is really strong, don't brew for any longer than 1 minute. And I was like, if 1 cup brewed for 1 minute will make me drop a pound, imagine what 10 cups brewed for 10 minutes will do. Like, I was on the Slimmer tea flat out, stewing
Jordan.
it, like I could practically chew this tea. So I decided to start it 2 days before this date, obviously, which is a brilliant idea. And we're sitting watching the film, and it's that thing of like, oh, did he mean to touch my hand? It was so innocent. And then my stomach just went, oh.
Oh
And
no.
I was like,
fuck.
oh, Jesus, Lord, a puff. Sorry, sir. And I went, I'm just going to go check on the kids. And I ran upstairs.
She goes and shits
and the
on them.
heavens opened like it was like a crime scene. And I was like, oh my God.
Shut your brains
There's
out.
water.
Bridesmaids.
So I was like, right. Went back downstairs. I was like, sorry about that. Just when the kids needed a glass of milk. Just gonna go check on them again. I wasn't in that room the whole rest of the night.
Oh, no.
I couldn't sit beside. I couldn't sit. I literally could barely. I didn't know what to do with myself. There was leaves coming out. Like, it was absolutely
Dung and everywhere.
mad. Honestly, God love him. I don't know what he thought was going on. But then at one point he was like, oh, I'm just gonna go pee, and I was like, no, do not go near that.
You know, they
bathroom.
pee outside in the shed in this house.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
where
like-
you go.
I think peeing's
Out in the
really
gully.
overrated. I find that so weird if you pee.
Yeah,
on
it's such
this
an
date.
ick if you go pee in this house.
Right enough, he probably heard the toilet flushing about 25 times.
Yeah.
You confiscating his drinks.
Honestly,
No more for you.
She's literally like trying to dry him out.
Here.
But my boss got home and she was like, well, how was the date? And I was like, good.
But I'm down 3 pounds, so
She's sweating.
Yeah.
win-win.
Clothes hanging off me.
Yeah. But here, well, I know we're going to finish up now, but another time I had to pretend I was all right. And I think this has probably happened to everybody. My ma, when I was a teenager, there's a street called Floyd Street on Derry, right? And it's like where everyone hangs out. The buses pick, it's like all the bus stops and all. And my ma dropped me off Saturday afternoon, town buzzing, everybody up there in their Tammy girl outfits and all, right? All looking all biz. And I can see the big group of mates I'm going to meet. I get out of the car, she drives off, and I'm waving at her like that there. She walks past, she drives by, and then I'm like clunk, and I bang into a lamppost, and I hit the deck.
Oh, God.
I near died. I went to space and back. Like I had a 3-week holiday in my brain. There was birds spinning around my head like it was a cartoon. I had a full clonk-a-donk, and I had to get straight back up and be like, that didn't hurt.
Oh,
That's fine. I have like an egg on my head. My friend's like, are you sure you're fine? I'm all, this thing? I'll go to Annie later. But you just spend the whole time being like, whacking yourself or getting
Scundering.
so embarrassing.
Oh.
Especially when you're 16 and trying to go with somebody. So
Yeah.
you're just like, I'm fine. And then like as the egg gets bigger and bigger and bigger, you're like, I
hatches.
need to go to hospital. It hatches.
Bird comes out and flies around your head. You're like, I need to go to hospital.
Yeah. Those are the worst. It's when you're that age too and you're like getting so embarrassed.
Everyone's
by-
so
That's
scundering.
so embarrassing to injure yourself. Like, it was a perfectly innocent mistake.
I know.
But you're like, can't admit something's wrong with me.
But it's also a real ick. Like if you're out with a fella and he gets hurt and you're all,
Wise
don't
up.
be hurt.
Did
Wise
that
up.
hurt you?
Do you
Why
not
you
go to the
peeing?
gym?
Make your
Well,
skull heavier.
Thank you so much for joining us. This has been another
This has been a roller coaster.
Yeah, it
Fuck.
was.
It's been highs and lows.
I feel
But
like we've done 6 episodes there.
I know.
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us, and look after yourselves. And if you ever need a chat, we're here. See you next time.
And
Bye.
don't pretend to be okay when you're not.
Definitely not.
Just don't.
Yeah.
Just don't do it.
Love yous. Bye bye.
Bye.